Hey everybody, I'm back. So I just installed a mod that will apparently apply buffs to me automatically so that I don't have to go through and click every single thing anytime I have a difficult fight. See if it works.
My tail is restless.
There we go. I think I got it now. Alright, time to actually head back to Golarion and see how badly things got messed up while I was gone.
The commander found himself in a Lushanira, the very heart of enemy territory. Much to his credit, he managed not only to pique the interest of the Lady in Shadow, but to defeat Baphomet himself. But after these adventures, does he still remember Golarion and wonder about its fate?
In the commander's absence, Queen Galfrey assumed control over the Crusade. She independently made a number of decisions regarding the development of the main aspects of the Crusade.
Here we go again.
Let's see, do you want to talk to me about what happened at Aegephilus's mansion? You mean about how I turned down an amazing magical power because of you? I'm kidding. I rejected it of my own free will. You know, Chief, I've never met anyone like you. I should be laughing at myself and you and the way we worked everything out, but I don't want to. What would I do in the Abyss? I just keep hanging out with scumbags and traitors thinking that I'm one of them. But with you I've been places, seen things, good and bad, and things I've never even thought about before. Sister Kara's man the others used to tell me to grow up and act like an adult. Maybe this is it. I seem to have made a choice, the most important one in my life. I don't know who I am yet, but I'm definitely not a street rat or an urchin anymore. Just don't call me a crusader. I've never respected them, and I still don't. You're the exception. Daniel, anything more to say? You're extremely quiet today. I'm just busy. And not busy at the same time. I feel like I have to do something, but I don't really know what. It feels like I've forgotten something. It's an odd sensation. Rougelet? We're back on Golarion again. Will Desna keep you safe now? No, her gift did not come back. He is not going to rescue me from danger anymore, but I'm not afraid. I'm no longer alone. I have allies who won't let me die. I have friends now. Baron? Rigel? What an interesting discovery. He who was considered the chosen of the gods, who was destined to liberate the World Wound, turned out to be a creation of the World Wound's architect. I did have my doubts about the nature of your power, but the reality exceeded every expectation. The source of my power is irrelevant. I am who I am. A Rilu cannot control me. I suppose you are right. If a Rilu Vorlesh or Nocticula had direct access to your consciousness or any other ways to blackmail you, they would have acted by now. On the one hand, I am astonished that they decided to grant such colossal power to an entity outside their control. And on the other hand, that is peak demon behavior. One way or another, consider yourself warned that I will have to report our discoveries to my superiors in the Hell Knight hierarchy. And now I am ready to answer your questions. Zorges? Ember? You've talked to Nocticula. What can you say about her now? She was laughing so loudly. But you know, I think it was just so she didn't cry. She has so many servants, but not a single friend. So many lovers, but no one to love. So much power, and she uses it all to hurt herself. I hope she can change her life. It will be so sad if she has to live like that forever. I noticed a shadow behind you. Yes, I saw them too. They come and go, but don't do anything bad. I don't think they are scary. Lan? Sociel? Sociel is holding a brush and laboring over a painting. He is clearly dissatisfied with the results so far. He tuts and tears the paper into pieces. You notice a knight wearing black armor. He stands straight and tall, with resolution etched on his stern, scarred face. I'm sorry for your loss. Thank you. He really was a hero. He fought the enemy till the end. But what does he leave behind? I remember what we were like as children, and you know, I think it is wrong to teach children that they should grow up to be heroes. Here we go. Alright, I gotta get the mythic levels sorted out now. Flawless attacks. Unrelenting assault. Every turn, as long as you make at least one melee attack, you gain a stacking +2 bonus to damage rolls with melee weapons, up to a maximum of +10. Toughness mythic. Any means necessary. A Hell Knight's attacks are treated as good aligned for the purposes of overcoming damage reduction. Mythic Resolve. Unstoppable. Spell Focus Conjuration Mythic. Abundant Casting. Dodge Mythic. Ranging Shots. Weapon Specialization Mythic. Mythic Charge. How are they on spell slots? Maybe I should take a rest before I do that.
We'll win this, one way or the other.
Well, that doesn't look good.
Wonderful!
Can we retreat already?
Oops, there's more.
The light take you.
Cover me, all right? Stab you or zap you? Why not both?
Hold it. State your names or my archers will shoot you where you stand. These archers of yours can show themselves first. Alright, you got me, Commander. I ain't got no archers. I was just kidding with you. I saw you climbing out and I was wondering what kind of welcome to give you. Huh, I bloody knew it. I told him all you'd come. I got some winnings to collect. Why are you here? I'm on scout patrol, slaying any demons that reach this far. It's kinda routine these days. But this ain't the place for that conversation. We gotta move, and fast. So you wanna bet? Do I get a share of the winnings? I'll donate your share to the treasury, if we survive. The stuff that's going on here right now, Commander, it's a long story. What happened here while I was gone? Everything went to shit, to put it mildly. Let's go back to our base. I'll fill you in when we get there. Base? All of Drezen is our base. Not anymore. These days we make do with what we got, and what we got is sod all. Let's go and talk somewhere more suitable. Let's go, but I gotta warn you, the news ain't good. There you have it, Commander, our temporary camp. It's embarrassing to have to show you how things have turned out. But now, we're gonna do something about it. You got nothing to be embarrassed about. You survived, and you're still fighting. Thanks, pal. You always know how to cheer a girl up. What happened to Drezen while I was gone? Things were quiet at first. You know, as quiet as they were when you were here, I mean. The Queen took hold of the reins, but she wasn't gonna go against your wishes, so she kinda left everything as it was. She just told everybody to hold on, that you'd be back soon. Things carried on like that for 6 months. I was gone for 6 months? Yeah, why are you acting so surprised? I'm no expert in demon stuff, but it hasn't been that long for you. There's definitely something fishy going on. Magical trap or something like that. Right, so 6 months passed. What happened next? So listen, 6 months, that ain't nothing, you know? After a while we realized that that maybe you wouldn't be coming back. The Queen was real cut up about it. She was always praying to Iomade, asking for her counsel. One time I overheard her blaming herself for sending you to the Abyss. But you know our Galfrey, she's laid plenty of friends to rest in her life. If she called off the crusade after every death, we'd have lost to the demons a long time ago, right? So Galfrey pulled herself together and made a decision to push forward before the demons recovered from their last defeat, to go on the attack before they thought of doing the same to us. You were declared dead, see? We did things properly, though, threw you a big funeral feast and everything. Everybody was bawling their eyes out. Even Beth shed a tear for you. The Queen sent all the civilians to Nerosian, took the Sword of Valor, and ordered all the troops to follow her. Only, some folks kinda turned down that particular honor. You're a wonder. Our wonder. You've been sent to us by the gods, no doubt about it. Yeah, about that. Maybe we're crazy, but we believe in you. I even started packing my stuff to go, but then I realized I couldn't. Couldn't do it. Felt torn between my duty to the crusade and my duty to my family. I just kept thinking, you are our commander. We've been through so much together. So I told Beth all this, and she said to me, stay. I know what you're feeling. I know your love is with me, but if the commander comes back and finds no one here, he'll lose faith in us. I miss her, of course, like crazy, but I'm grateful as well. She's bound by her oath to the Queen, seeing as how you're not commander anymore. But she gave me the freedom to do what my heart told me. To tell you the truth, I thought I'd be sticking around here on my own, but before I knew it there was a whole gang of us. A ragtag crew for sure, but we're all united. We're all fighting for you. So about a week goes by, and then the demons, the scum, started sniffing around. It was obvious the Queen was long gone, and that's when it all started. They came at us with a whole bloody army, those sons of bitches. And they're led by Orangofta, a fat hog of a demon. We had to surrender the fortress and retreat to safety. We've been here ever since, scouting out what they're planning next, listening in when we can, picking them off one by one. In other words, we've been living like rats. So the population of Drezen has been evacuated. Yeah, the Queen got as many people out as she could. Those who agreed to go, that is. Even the dungeons were emptied and the prisoners evacuated. I did hear that somebody might have escaped on the way to Nerosian, but I didn't ask for details. Not our problem anymore. Of course, they couldn't move the bodies of those poor people whose souls were stolen by that jeweler, Sunhammer, or whatever his name is. They've been sheltered in the city. Arsenault has been looking after them. And Sila's pals from the Houndheart's been guarding them all this time. The demons have attacked a few times and given the knights a thrashing. Only Elon was left standing, but none of the victims came to any harm. By Desna, I hope their souls are found, so all this won't have been for nothing. Where are the mongrels? Why didn't they help you? Deserted, they did. I didn't see that coming, I'll admit. They were good people, strong. There were no signs anything was wrong. But one night, they all just got up as one and left. The guards at the gate tried to stop them. That lot of good that did. The mongrels slit the guards' throats and vanished into the wound. Nobody knows what happened to them, but there have been rumors. Alright, we've covered recent history, but what's happening now? It's all hands on deck here. The one-eyed devil is spying in the tavern. Elor has gone to free captured soldiers from the dungeons. And the storyteller, he had some vision about you and the Queen. He took off running, saying he needed to touch her things to find out where she is. If she's in dire straits, we need to go and help her once we deal with things here. And Captain Selkind, remember him? Was given the boot by his superiors. He wasn't getting along with them, so they tossed him out on his ear. And get this, the guy just walks right out through the city gates, pack on his back, heading west like he's going for a stroll. Dumb fool. What happened? He didn't see eye to eye with his superiors. The higher-ups didn't like the way Selkind was assigning more and more soldiers to surveying the territory, leaving less and less for military actions. The captain had a dream about discovering a surviving Sarkorian village like Winter Sun, and he got carried away. A couple of knights from Nerosian showed up with orders to strip him of his rank. Selkind started yelling about how once again the nobility was neglecting the interests of the common folk. He said that he was trying to carry out a rescue mission, because that's what he called it, while the top brass were only interested in glory from winning battles and the gold Galfrey would put in their pockets. He was about to be thrown out on his ass, but Selkind beat them to it. He just disappeared. He left Drezen and went who knows where. A new captain was sent to replace him, but the Queen took him and his soldiers with her when she left. Where do you think he went? I can't tell you where, but I can definitely tell you the who. He's gone off searching for his beloved Sarkorians. It's a damn shame we lost him too. We could do with another decent officer around here. Bloody amateur archaeologist. He didn't deserve to be treated like that. Selkind's a good man. You got that right. I hope he's alive. If you come across him, tell him to come back, will ya? Maybe Selkind's career isn't over yet. Where did the Queen go? Has there been any word of her? She didn't say anything to those who were staying behind. In case the demons got their claws on us, you know. They could force the information out of us. I don't know if what the storyteller saw was a dream or a vision, but he just dashed off toward the Citadel. Said he was going to hold some of Galfrey's things and find out where she was headed, because the commander would be back soon and would be asking about it. It's the last I heard from him. He's been gone half the day. I've heard better news. What are we going to do? Now that you're here, there's only one thing for it. We gotta win. But to do that, we need to hit him with everything we got. One and done. Here's what we'll do. You head for the Citadel and send everyone who's out in the city on assignments back to me. I'll round up everyone still within the city walls. We'll meet up again at the Citadel and sock it to him in one final punch. But you better hurry. I haven't heard from any of the units in the city for a long while. Maybe there's no one left to round up. And one more thing. Remember the Bell of Mercy, the relic you returned? You'll be walking right past it. Make sure to give it a good whack to make all the demons' eyes pop out. It'll at least give us a fighting chance. I heard it's good at frying scum of all kinds. Well, time to do my duty as commander. Good luck, Commander. Don't die out there, please. And don't worry about your pals from the Feint. I'll get them here in one piece.
Let's see what we can do.
Here we go. Ah, there's the bell.
Retake. I got this.
I'm done with you.
Yeah, I imagine he'll be a bit easier to kill now that he's frightened.
Go!
Retake. Bam!
The Inheritor, guide my blade!
Pretty good, aren't I?
Damn you!
Commander, risen from the dead after all, and not a minute too soon. I suppose that means I owe Anivia money now. I've never been so happy to lose a bet in my entire life. By the way, we've got a little brawl coming up here. We could really use your help. That'll teach you not to bet against the chief. Plenty have made the same mistake, and where are they now, I ask you? You bet that I wouldn't come back? Why? Truth be told, Commander, I'm a practical man, and I never count on miracles. It doesn't mean I'm not happy to see you, on the contrary. I suppose a miracle you don't expect brings you the most joy, especially if it saves you from certain death. What's your assessment of the situation in Drezen? The situation is God's awful, to put it mildly. It feels like some thugs have taken over our home and they won't stop rubbing our noses in it. Although now, I'm starting to think it might be a good thing. Let the demons lower their guard. It'll make it easier for us to wipe them out. Yeah, I already know what's gonna happen here, so we don't have time for that. Leave the prisoners behind and retreat. If you say so, Commander, but they won't be spared, as you well know. You're condemning them to death. However, I suppose the situation calls for drastic measures in every way.
Damn, son!
Nice. Hold on. Oh, they're all frightened now. Well, back to real time.
Ask nicely.
Ba, er. Retake.
Well, time to get out of... Hey, what's the whole... Oh, it's you. It's been a while? You can say that again. We've already had your funeral. Where'd you come from? Oh, I see. Anivia must have sent you to help us. And she was right to do so, I tell ya. Wish I could say we're doing fine on our own here, but truth is, I was already thinking we were done for. We need to leave now, before we attract unwanted attention with all this chatter. What happened to the half-measure? It's pretty bad, isn't it? This used to be a nice place to have a drink in good company, but now everything's busted up and covered in filth. Damn demons. It's not the first time the half-measure's seen tough times. I've been meaning to do this place up for a while. Change the floor, slap a new coat of paint on the walls, but I never actually got around to it. Well, now's my chance. I've gotta say, it still makes my skin crawl when I think of the demons making themselves at home here. I seem to recall a certain tavern keeper saying, and I quote, "Better I let demons run wild in here than let Hell Knights smother it with their rules and regulations." Somebody likes to gloat, I see. I was almost ready to apologize to you, Yaker, my friend, but if you're cruel enough to turn words spoken in the heat of the moment against me, you can forget about getting an apology from me. It's time to get out of here. Right. By the way, we found out that the demons have hidden all their spoils in the hay right outside the tavern. They had no idea I was spying on them through the window. Doesn't make sense to leave all those valuable supplies here, since we're about to wipe the demons out. Sorry, half-measure, you'll have to wait a little bit longer. The easiest way would be to create a diversion and set this place on fire. Let it burn with all its contents. No way, you just try it, pal. You just said you were planning a major renovation and wanted to change this place from top to bottom. I'm just trying to help you. Call it extra incentive. Hey, we leveled up. Back to taking fighter levels. I guess I'll take armed bravery. Make my will safe just a little bit better. Thela gets Aura of Righteousness. At 17th level, a paladin gains DR5 Evil and immunity to compulsion spells and spell-like abilities. Each ally within 10 feet of her gains a +4 morale bonus on saving throws against compulsion effects. This ability functions only while the paladin is conscious, not if she is unconscious or dead. Improved Vital Strike. Ember gets Skill Focus Persuasion. Heal. Storm Bolts. Add a magic quicken spell. Shades. And Greater Shout. She gets dodge. That's it. T gets sickening critical. Dispel magic greater. And eye bite.
I can handle it.
Is that a trap? It might be a trap.
Scroll of Summon Monster 9, 1d3 Monadic Devas or Frost Giants. Scroll of Polar Midnight. You plunge an area into the brutal chill of the Arctic night. All creatures in the area take 5d6 points of cold damage and 1d6 points of dexterity damage per round. A successful fortitude save each round negates the dexterity damage but not the cold damage. Power word kill. You utter a single word of power that instantly kills one creature of your choice, whether the creature can hear the word or not. Any creature that currently has 101 or more hit points is unaffected by power word kill.
That's all you've got? You can do better.
Nav, Orma.
Can't you just die already?
Polar Ray. Blue-white ray of freezing air and ice springs from your hand. You must succeed on a ranged touch attack with the ray to deal damage to a target. The ray deals 1d6 points of cold damage per caster level, maximum 25d6. and 1d4 points of dexterity drain. Field of Law. Roll of Tar Pool. You convert a layer of the ground into hot tar. Creatures in the area when the tar appears take 1d6 points of fire damage per 2 caster levels, maximum 10d6, and must succeed at a reflex save or become entangled until they make a successful reflex saving throw, strength check, or mobility check. DC equals spell saving throw DC. They can make attempts each round after receiving the effect. The area is difficult terrain and all creatures inside the area take a -5 penalty on mobility skill checks. All creatures inside the tar area take 2d6 points of fire damage each round and must re-attempt a reflex save or become entangled. A creature that falls prone in the area takes a -4 penalty on its reflex save against the tar and on strength and mobility checks to escape the tar. After leaving the tar area, a creature can take no actions for 1 round as it cleans itself from the tar. Wand of Greater Invisibility.
This is my kind of work.
Greater Quicken Meta Magic Rod. Oh hey, that guy. They were too stubborn to retreat. Their determination could have helped them in life, but instead it has only led to their untimely deaths. I regret having to kill them. What are you doing here? I debated for a long time whether or not to interfere in Drezen's affairs. However, the words of the loyal warriors who remained behind to defend the fortress touched my heart. I was persuaded to get involved, and none too soon it seems. What happened to the cultist I spared? I heard that he became a healer. I do not know if he still worships Baphomet, but even if he does, I'm certain that he will bring more good into the world than evil. You should be proud of yourself. You chose to spare him. Thanks to your decision, the world now has another caretaker of the afflicted. Come with me. You can help me drive away the demons. You are not leading a large force against the demons, and that leads me to believe that you do not want to attract attention. And a gold dragon entering the fray is something that attracts a good deal of attention, trust me. Furthermore, I wish to see for myself what you have achieved over the years. I want to observe how the dragon spirit manifests within you. Farewell, Commander. This will be a difficult fight, but if you look within yourself, you'll find that your spirit, the spirit of a dragon, cannot be defeated. If you feel the desire to follow Terendalev's example, come and meet me in Drezen after the battle. And if you do not, well then this will be our last meeting.
This is my kind of work.
Hey, storyteller. Long months have passed, Commander. But even while you were away on the other plane, I could hear your brave heart beating. That sound never stopped for a second. You're a lively one, Grandpa Elf, always finding yourself in the most dangerous spots. But I'm still glad to see you, although you'd be safer tucked up by a fire somewhere. How have things been these past 6 months? We spent that time serving the Queen to the best of our ability, but a week ago, after she announced her decision to proceed with the crusade, many of us came to the decision that we could not go with her, because we did not believe that you were truly dead. We humbly declined the honors offered to us and remained here to await your return. It was an easier decision for me than for the others. I had encountered you in the abyss, and I knew you were alive. But not everyone believed me. And then, yesterday, I had a vision. I was leafing through the pages that you had collected for me, and suddenly I saw the future. Not the future clamoring to be told by the page in my hand, but your future. The future of the person who first brought that page to me. In my vision, you returned from the abyss marked by new powers that wound around you like snakes. Your voice made the earth tremble, people and demons dropped to their knees, and Iomade herself extended you a helping hand. But the only thing you were concerned with was the whereabouts of the banner that Queen Galfrey had taken with her. I know what I saw is difficult to believe, but I am in the habit of trusting my visions. So I hurried to the Citadel to lay my hands on some of Queen Galfrey's possessions to try and discern where she went and where your banner is now. Do you know where the Queen went? It wasn't easy. I see the Queen's future and her past as if looking through shattered glass. Multiple visions come one after another, distorting the picture. The Queen is in mortal danger, at the crossroads of her fate, and her every step may prove fatal. But I did not give up, and fortune smiled upon me. I touched her goblet and learned where she was leading her army. Her Majesty decided to march for Ives. A bold move, one worthy of a queen who is not accustomed to hiding. This is an utterly anti-scientific method of acquiring information, and that's what makes it so interesting. I'll have to conduct a series of experiments involving you, to establish how you react to various objects, to identify patterns in the amount of information that you receive from them. You have already said that in exactly those words. You even conducted your experiments. You handed me some shards to hold. Once you brought a huge club, and another time you gave me a live hedgehog. And then you said that the experiment was a failure, and immediately forgot all about it. Really? Well, if I decided to forget all about it, that must mean I didn't learn anything of interest. I won't remember this time either. So, what were we talking about? Eyes. The place sounds familiar. Can you give me more of the details? Oh, Ives, the city that hangs over the abyss. It once was the citadel of legendary rulers, the capital of Sarkoris. But now demons are tearing it apart, making a mockery of its former glory. 2/3 of its magnificent streets and proud towers have collapsed into the world wound, but the city still holds on, just as Sarkoris holds on, defeated but refusing to die. We must leave this place. It's time for the final battle for Drezen. Yes, your arrival has changed everything. After we lost Drezen again, it felt as if the light of hope had left us forever. But you are just like the Sword of Valor. You are the banner of our victory. There's one more thing. In the shattered fragments that form her fate, I can sense your presence, and I am convinced that the Queen could sense it too. No one can say what your next encounter will lead to, but there is one thing I know for certain. Queen Galfrey's fate and yours are tightly intertwined. Here comes the Commander, kids. So, Commander, do you like what you see? You've arrived just in time to hear your friends screaming for help. They trusted you, and look what's happened to them. Do you actually think you can rescue them? Who do you think you are? Who sent this army here, you beast? We all serve our master Baphomet, Lord of the Labyrinth. He promised us Drezen and your skin as a doormat. I'll rescue my friends. And how exactly will you do that, you pathetic Golarion maggot? And what can you do on your own without your army? Yell inspirational speeches, "Oh no, I'm so scared." And then all the pathetic defenders of Drezen will be inspired and turn into an invincible force. Yes, that's usually how it goes, in fairy tales. Do you know what happens next in real life? We'll wipe your army out and you along with it. But I won't kill everyone. I'll lock you in a cage, then start torturing your friends. Once I'm done with them, they will come and spit in your face. They'll tell you themselves what torment you doomed them to. You are just a jumped-up mortal insect. You are nobody. I am the wind of change. You shouldn't have tried to stand in my way. Power rushes through your body, almost ripping it apart. The wound in your chest bursts open in a spray of bloody droplets. The might bestowed upon you by the Abyss and a Rilu Vorlish erupts into this world, and you pay for it in purest agony. The echo of your voice rolls over the streets of Drezen, spreading beyond the city, soaring up into the air, and is answered by a chorus of voices that seems to reverberate in every street and alleyway. But is it really just an echo? Or perhaps these are indeed the voices of your friends rushing to help after hearing your call. Hey, it's the halflings. Ha! For all his talk, he didn't even get a proper fight. Huh? Whoa. An incredible silence suddenly descends over the city. It is broken by the solemn sound of fanfares that seems to come from far away, everywhere, and nowhere all at once. All eyes are turned to the huge stained glass window of the city's main cathedral. It begins to glow with a soft light, and in the next breath, a lone figure steps out of the glass onto the cobblestones of Drezen.
Knight Commander, at last we meet.
Gods don't often descend to our world.
They rarely have good reason to. I suppose you're asking yourself why I am here. Gods must not interfere directly in the affairs of mortals. But what is happening here, in the World Wound, is no longer the concern of mortals alone. And this is proof. This fortress has witnessed so many horrors and miracles. It makes me wonder how it still stands. Goodness and the light of hope are not unknown to you, but you mix them with recklessness. And the power that feeds this recklessness is dangerous. You have achieved victory by uniting outcasts and pariahs. But where are you leading them? And what will your beautiful promises of freedom cost you? But I did not come here to reproach you, or to bewail the fate of the unfortunate defenders of Drezen. I wish to stop the forces of evil and defend Golarion, both from Daskari's violent rage and from Nocticula's insidiousness. But that is not my only goal. I have come here to restore justice, for justice is the birthright of all. That's why I hail you as a hero who has triumphed over the demons many times. At the same time, I grieve for you, as for a soul that is caught in a web of demonic deceit and villainy.
Maybe I did acquire my powers from a dubious source, but I follow my own path.
You may think so, but alas, this is not true. It can be, however, if you accept my help. In that moment, when my poor herald was being torn apart by monsters, He found the strength to send me a message about what he had learned in the Abyss. You were in Elushanera, where you spoke with the Lady in Shadow and the Architect of the World Wound. They confessed what they had done to you, but they did not reveal the whole truth. Both you and this unfortunate world will have to pay dearly for the power that they so generously bestowed upon you. But all is not yet lost. That is why I have come.
The walls of Drezen shake again, and with a ringing laugh, a black shadow appears above the shining goddess, Nocticula in the flesh. Standing beside her is a Rilu Vorlesh who stares at the goddess with ice-cold rage in her eyes.
Who here has been taking my name in vain? Ah, it's you, the Inheritor. What's this? Our worst fears have come to pass. The gods are flocking to Golarion. This merry little tinderbox could ignite at any moment, reducing the material plane to dust.
I did not come here to fight.
Oh, really? I didn't realize you were good for anything else. Forgive me, that was unfair of me. Judging by your successes over the last 100 years, fighting is not your forte. After all, the wound is still there, as far as I know. So why are you here? If you have come to meddle in my affairs, don't expect me simply to stand aside.
This party's really getting started now. We'll be next to arrive. Kate and Kalian, perhaps?
The two of us will be more than enough. Listen to what I have to tell you. If she wishes to be present for this conversation, so much the better. Do you hear me, Nocticula? You and your servant are under no obligation to leave. I have come here to shed the light of truth. Let us see if you both can withstand its merciless radiance. I cannot change the flow of mortal history by force. After all, the World Wound is their doing, although committed at the behest of the Abyss. But sometimes force is unnecessary, and truthful words are all it takes.
The goddess who was mortal not so long ago is eager to judge us for our sins now. My sin, to be precise. What lies behind your eagerness, proud Iomade? Righteous wrath? Or perhaps fear? Watch out. A simple mortal woman has learned how to grant powers to others. Powers which are beyond the wildest dreams of many Imperial lords. This must be stopped, forbidden, taken away immediately. After all, what need will we have for all these arrogant gods once we become their equals?
Silence. It's impolite to interrupt your elders. But you know, Inheritor, she does have a point. What are you going to do now? Break my weapon, which has made so many victories possible, and only because he received that weapon from my profane hands, and the entire affair must therefore be profane also? What real reasons do you have? Save those born of your envy, your capriciousness, and your suspicions?
My reasons are quite real, as you well know. That is why you appeared here in such haste, is it not? You have woven a delicate lace of half-truths, Nocticula. From you and your servant, the Knight Commander has learned that he is bound to the World Wound, that he is slowly dying because of its influence, and that he is yet capable of closing it. But you withheld a crucial piece of information. You never told him that closing the wound won't save him from death. For this lock will destroy the key to which it is bound. The one who closes the World Wound will die along with it.
That is true. I tried to tell you back in Elushanera, but I was not allowed to. It is an unavoidable consequence of this process. To stitch two planes together as I have stitched Golarion and the Abyss, the soul of a mortal must be woven with the essence of the Abyss. To undo this seam, the original soul, the key, must be ripped apart. No one could survive such a process.
In other words, I'll die if I don't close the wound, and I'll die if I do close it.
It is true. Now do you see the perils of accepting a demonic gift? No matter how much power the Abyss gives you, that power will always be tainted by lies and misfortune. This is the justice I promised you. The right to know the whole truth, and not to be a plaything in the hands of abyssal spawn.
Nocticula, were you trying to hide this from me?
Trying, you say? I successfully hid the truth from you for as long as I deemed necessary. Are you expecting me to explain myself? My goal is to close the world wound, not to grant you a happily ever after.
What if I reject this power?
You will live.
You will lose everything that makes life worth living.
You will spoil a brilliant endeavor and destroy the lives of thousands of mortals who will be devoured by the legions of demons coming from the Abyss. Aside from that, you won't do anything extraordinary at all.
What if I'm willing to sacrifice my life if it means closing the world wound?
Oh, how noble! For a brief moment, I even felt some regret that we demons are incapable of such lovely things. You see now, Inheritor? My little protege has more nobility in him than you expected. Shame on you.
This nobility is exactly why I came here. To help the Knight Commander learn the truth, and to show him that he has been used. Besides, I do not believe that you have been acting for selfless reasons, Lady in Shadow. Honesty and nobility have never counted among your virtues. You own the main source of Nahindrian crystals, and your servant Arilu has learned how to break the laws of the universe with their help. Can it be that the ruler of darkness and mistress of assassins has not conceived a way to use this formidable gift for her own benefit?
Accusations, suspicions, all completely hollow, just like your bright-eyed pretty little head. It's a pity you inherited Eridan's sword, but not his sharp mind. I have but one goal now. To stop the armies of that lecherous billygoat and that gluttonous bug from strutting around my domain as if it were their own. I don't give a fig whether it will help mortals or hurt them. If the enemy of your enemy makes you a mutually beneficial proposition, you would have to be a complete idiot to say no.
Goddess, can you help me cleanse my soul of the influence of the Abyss?
Arilu has planted a piece of the Abyss itself in your soul. The only thing that can cleanse the soul of such a taint is that same soul. But I will be near. I will show you how to root out the demonic corruption. I am not a demon, and I do not offer any simple solutions. You will have to go your own way, no matter where it leads.
Well, now I'm finally starting to understand the rules of this game.
Yes. The power that Nahindrian crystals grant you will bring about nothing but your own demise. The branches of the Tree of Sin are vast and verdant, but its only fruit is death. You will not be able to save yourself unless you reject everything that has been foisted upon you. Now you know everything.
No, we're not quite finished with the revelations yet. Few secrets remain to be revealed, but they will be worth the wait. Does this look familiar? Do you remember the similar wound above your own heart? I have given you enough hints. Come on, ask me the question I have been waiting for.
I received my wound because you, Arilu, implanted the essence of the Abyss in my soul when you expanded the world wound. My question is, why do you have a similar wound? Could it be because you used your own soul as a key when you first opened the world wound?
That's right. And this means that the world wound actually has 2 keys.
Good question. Just imagine. I have wasted so much time chasing the key to the world wound, and the key was right under my nose this whole time. Rilu, my love, come over here.
Arilu does not look like someone who has been cornered. Without a trace of fear, she gives you a faint nod, and then makes a barely discernible gesture with her hand, disappears as if she were never even here.
Wait! I said wait! That little bitch. I knew she would betray me sooner or later, but I never expected such an idiotic stunt. But everything seems to be falling into place quite nicely. You see, you don't have to die after all. Arilu opened the world wound, and Arilu will be the one who closes it, whether she likes it or not. Although, someone will need to catch her first, and this will require certain powers.
Yes, Arilu Vorlesh will pay for her crimes with her life. Her flight confirms that our suppositions were correct. But now we know that the world wound can be sealed with her blood. You have no reasons to remain indebted to the Abyss and indulge the Queen of the Succubi. Reject her gift, and secure your victory while being the person you were before Arilu Vorlesh corrupted you. Win as a mortal, and become a legend among mortals.
She's talking rubbish. True, we gave you the power, but it was you who chose how to wield it. It belongs to you, and it will remain yours, so you can do whatever you want with it. But first, you must use it to close the world wound. You aren't going to catch this world's most powerful witch, and a half-demon one at that, with your bare hands, are you?
Before I make my decision, I want to ask Iomade some questions.
Ask, and you shall have your answers.
You gained your own power from the Starstone. How is my power any different?
My ascension was not accomplished in one day, and even the test of the Starstone was only one of its stages. I did not merely gain power, I embraced a sacred duty. Your power, on the other hand, stems not from long hours of study, not from trials. It is not the natural talent you were born with and carefully honed throughout your life. It is the result of an evil soul's deranged experiment with the blood of dead abyssal lords.
You imprisoned entire hosts of angels inside the Wardstones. Why did you do that to them?
Every one of my angels volunteered for that mission. They all knew what kind of watch they were going to keep. They knew that it would be a hard and exhausting battle, but that the lives of mortals throughout Golarion would depend on it. Alas, angels' minds can be as fragile as the minds of mortals. In less than 100 years, many wavered, and wished to break the oath they had sworn. I do not blame them. I blame myself, for allowing them to take on a burden that was too heavy for them.
Did you send your herald to follow me to the Abyss, or did he go of his own free will?
He acted on his own noble impulse, and I did not stop him. I also did not try to dispel his misconception about you being my chosen one. I do not lie, but both celestial beings and mortals can be mistaken.
She doesn't lie, sure. She merely withholds some of the truth. For the noblest of reasons, of course.
Do you know what happened to your herald?
My herald, my loyal companion, was captured, and now demons are using him to attack Drezen. They're holding him in the Ivory Labyrinth, Baphomet's realm of the Abyss. It is a place I cannot go, not even to save my faithful friend. For doing so would start an interplanar war. Right now, as we speak, Baphomet's servants are torturing the hand of the Inheritor. Tormented and anguished, he reaches for you with his thoughts and his soul. I cannot tell if he sees you as a great unfulfilled hope or a last chance. But Baphomet knows well how to exploit such desperate yearning. He has turned my herald into a source of power to open temporary portals. They do not last long, but they lead from the dungeon where the hand of the Inheritor suffers, right to your doorstep. Baphomet does not need to lead his armies through the rifts. Now he can send them right here. As long as my poor herald remains in the hands of that monster, this will not stop. I cannot say if it is still possible to save him, or if putting him out of his misery is the only way. I cannot openly ask you to intervene. But if you decide to do so, you will be helping both yourself and the one who chose the martyr's path when he followed you into the abyss.
Ever since I acquired these powers, everyone has believed me to be Iomede's chosen. Why didn't you do anything to dispel this misunderstanding?
At first, I did not know who you were, or where your powers originated. This was revealed to me only when my herald offered up his dying prayer from the depths of the abyss. And following his desperate plea, I sought to confirm my suspicions. Until that point, I had observed you without intervening. After all, your crusade was securing victories, the first Golarion had seen in many years, so even if it was not I who had sent you into battle, it felt unfair to undermine you.
In other words, our Imperial guest had no problem with your power, as long as she didn't know where it came from. She didn't even share her suspicions with her own herald. And after all that, someone dares to claim that demons are the most deceitful creatures?
You should not blame someone else if you base your accusations on vague suspicions rather than solid proof. You call my behavior deceitful. You, of all creatures, who kept the commander ignorant of the fate you had chosen for him? Indeed, the insolence of demons knows no bounds.
A demon lord stands before you. Why don't you destroy her right here and now?
I could. But then every other demon lord would decide that he or she was next and stand against me. In response to that, the Imperial lords would take up arms. Then Hell, Heaven, and Elysium would join the conflict. A war would break out, one which mortals could not hope to survive.
Why have you decided to descend to the world of mortals at this particular moment?
As I have already said, I am here to open your eyes to Nocticula's lies and to prevent more calamities in the future. You are at a crossroads now. I will not force you to do anything, but you needed to learn the truth and have the chance to cleanse yourself.
Why did Aurilu do everything possible to lead us to the idea that she was a key too?
The impulses that drive a soul as black as hers are beyond my comprehension. Perhaps she was startled by my arrival and decided not to bother keeping a secret that was bound to be revealed. Or perhaps she is up to some cunning scheme. Be on your guard. The architect of the World Wound will surely try to bring you down. For if she truly is a key, then it must mean that she will die sooner or later due to the influence of her own horrible creation. And that means that sacrificing you is her only chance of survival.
Explain it to me again. How exactly can you help me cleanse myself of the influence of the Abyss?
Aurilu has planted a piece of the Abyss itself in your soul. The only thing that can cleanse the soul of such a taint is that same soul. But I will be near. I will show you how to root out the demonic corruption. I am not a demon, and I do not offer any simple solutions. You will have to go your own way, no matter where it leads.
I have no more questions.
It is time to make your decision then.
Nocticula, I have some questions for you.
If you have questions, ask away.
Why did you try to hide the fact that closing the World Wound would kill me?
Because if I'd told you the truth, you would have refused to do it. But you're not angry with me, are you? After all, everything has worked out perfectly fine. We found another key. So now you can live and enjoy your life. Provided that you catch Aurilu, of course.
Now that we've decided to use Aurilu to close the World Wound, do you still want me to keep the powers I acquired from her?
Of course I do. Firstly, you'll need those powers to catch Aurilu and bring her to Threshold. Surely you don't think she'll willingly fall into your hands, and the demonic hordes will politely make way for you. And secondly, The powers Aurilu gave you protect you from dying before your time. None of us want the wound to kill you prematurely. You are extremely useful to me alive. After all, if you let Aurilu slip through your fingers, we can always go back to the original plan for closing the wound.
Aurilu deliberately led us to the idea that she was a key too. Why?
Apparently, she understood that her secret was about to be revealed anyway, so she decided to leave in style. What human female over 100 years old wouldn't feel flattered at being the center of attention? Although she could have other reasons. She obviously wanted us to understand everything and immediately rush off in pursuit of her. She's probably been preparing for a war of all against all for a long time, and now she wants to wage it on her own terms. Expect treachery and traps wherever you go.
Where could Aurilu have fled to?
No, let's think. She's hidden in the abyss before. She won't dare to return there now. Not only to my realm, but to any other either. Even if Baphomet and Discari both take it upon themselves to guard Aurilu personally, that won't stop me from sneaking in, slitting her throat, and leaving undetected. And she knows that. If I were her, I would hide in a place where the powers of her enemies were uncertain, and her own power was close to unlimited. I say you should look for her here, in the World Wound.
Aren't you afraid to stand in the presence of the goddess?
Tut tut, how rude! I wouldn't say the girl is that hideous. I admit her face is far from perfect. Her body too, to be honest. But all in all, not bad. I've seen worse. Your theatrics are too transparent to offend me, demon. At least, they can hardly offend me more than the very fact of your existence.
Do you really plan to use me to become a goddess yourself?
That is nothing but the wild speculation of a little girl who gained celestial power through no merit of her own and now fears that others may do the same, forcing her to share her place in the spotlight. Do I want to become a goddess? Of course I do. Who wouldn't? Can you help me with that? Sadly, no. Of course, Aurilu used to blather on about how her brilliant invention could bake gods like pies. But between you and me, the cleverer the inventor, the larger their ego becomes. So far, she hasn't managed to create anything stronger than you. And no offense, but you're no match for any deity.
I have no more questions.
Very well. It's time for you to make your decision then.
I want to ask my companions for advice. What do you think about all this?
Perhaps your power came from the abyss. That your beautiful soul has cleansed it of all evil. Don't reject this power, for you have already proved that you are worthy of it.
I enjoy feeling mythic power within me. But my life was perfectly fine before it. So it is up to you to decide. Being around you is so much fun. The whole world is ablaze. War is raging, but even those who are on the verge of dying smile when they see you. This power is good. Perhaps it was evil before, but you have made it good. Don't throw it away.
As a cave monster who's going to grow old and die in about 10 years' time, I can tell you this. There's no power in the world that's worth selling yourself out to the abyss for. Being the invincible companion of the magical commander was fun and all, but we don't need it. It doesn't really matter how much magic they've heaped on you. You're the commander because you have the heart and mind of a true commander. Screw your power. Don't betray yourself. That way, we'll win.
I don't see any reason for deliberation. Your power is chaotic and capricious, and it originates from a demonic source. I doubt you can even control it. Heed the words of the goddess. Reject it. And then we will hunt down Aurilu Vorlesh and deliver the punishment she deserves.
It's not my place to gainsay the will of my goddess, but The thing is, I can sense evil. And I don't sense it in your power at all. I just don't. Whatever those horned monsters had planned for you, you definitely aren't playing by their rules.
You gave hope to the Crusaders in their darkest hour, even when all seemed lost and only despair and death lay ahead. With these powers, you have saved countless lives, and you will save more. Of course you must keep them.
Someone pinch me. We are standing in the presence of the most pompous goddess in the world, debating whether we should listen to her or send her packing along with her invaluable opinions. I shall remember this moment for the rest of my life. Even as I stand in Pharasma's court, I shall tell this story to anyone who will listen. As for your question, by all means, tell her to go to the Abyss. The power is yours, and yours alone.
I hate it when they corner you and demand answers out of you. But fine, I'll tell you what I think. With you, I've always had my freedom, Chief, so I'll speak freely. Be who you are, and don't count on gifts from nobody. You gave me the same advice back in Alashanira, remember? And I've never regretted following it. Maybe you won't have the powers you had before, but do you really need somebody's permission to do what you want to do? That's what it's all about!
Experience tells me that it's wiser to trust yourself and your own abilities. You can't trust what clients tell you. One day you're a hero, the next you're working for the enemy. Sorry, but it all looks like a setup to me. First they tell you to lay down your weapons, and then, once you're unarmed, they finish you off in some back alley.
Your powers are interesting from a theoretical point of view. You are an experiment started by Arilu Vorlesh, and terminating it before it is complete would be foolish, not to mention impolite.
So that's 6-4 and 4 against. I've made my decision.
I am waiting for your answer. I hope you will choose wisely.
Quite right. Make your choice, and make it the right one.
Legend. One doesn't need to be a mythic creature, an otherworldly being, or a deity's chosen to become a hero. This path may be grueling and full of temptation, but the mortal who treads it fully earns the right to call themselves a true legend. Gold Dragon is a mighty, almost omnipotent creature that possesses powers beyond all others. The Gold Dragon is the embodiment of goodness, hope, and redemption. So even if I go Gold Dragon after this, I still keep all my Azada abilities, apparently. And if I go Legend, I lose it all. Huh. So you don't necessarily lose everything. Your level cap will become 40. The amount of XP needed to level up will be drastically decreased. The Legend's powers are beyond the Abyssal Corruption's reach. The Legend and all companions can rest up to 5 times after the Legend had cleared all the corruption from themselves at a safe place. Well, I started as an Azada, and I'm gonna keep going as an Azada. Another mythic feat. I guess I'll go with toughness mythic. And a superpower. Let's go with incredible might. Guess confusion. And 2 level 5 spells. I guess Burst of Glory and Song of Discord? Joy of Life. Azada summons the power of life itself. Azada and her companions' attacks become sacred for 1 round per 2 caster levels. This spell restores all companions' spell slots up to 5th level, however it doesn't affect Azada's mythic spellbook. Protection of Nature. Azada envelops her and her companions in a shroud of swirling leaves. Under this effect, all attacks against Azada and her companions suffer a 50% mischance. You become immune to cold damage. Whenever an enemy casts spells against you, they suffer 1d6 sonic damage per 5 Azada's caster levels. Rainbow Starfall. This spell functions like Call Lightning Storm, except Azada invokes a Rainbow Starfall. Every star deals 1d6 per 3 caster levels points of acid, cold, electricity, fire, or sonic damage, depending on the greatest potential damage, taking into consideration the target's immunities and energy resistances. You may call a maximum of 15 stars. Songs of Steel. This spell grants the target additional 2d6 plus Azada's caster level sonic damage for their first weapon attack during a round, a +2 bonus to caster level checks made to overcome spell resistance, a +2 bonus to all concentration checks, and raises the DC of the saving throws against all their spells and abilities by 2. Winds of the Fall. Azada creates a 30-foot cone of leaves that deals 10d6 1d10 slashing damage per 2 caster levels to all creatures within the cone. The creature who suffers damage from this spell has to pass a will saving throw or become intoxicated for 1 round per caster level. Whenever the creature under this effect makes a roll, it rolls twice and chooses the worst result. A successful saving throw reduces the duration of this effect to 1 round. Perhaps I could have rejected this power, but how can I abandon my people and my dragon?
Your pride will destroy you, and perhaps all of Golarion with you. But I shall not intervene now, so as to avoid causing even more suffering to this world. Farewell.
Even though you're not mortal anymore, you're still kind and funny. Everyone loves you. It's so good to have you with us.
It would have been so foolish for you to reject your powers. So many victories, so many achievements lie ahead for you. Well, go now. Capture Arilu, and prove which of you is making the best use of her invention. I'll be watching you.
Hey, everything's back to normal. Crumbling under her breath, Anivia picks a burr from her clothes, wipes colorful alchemical goo off her sleeve, empties acorns out of her pockets, and shakes something that looks suspiciously like confetti out of her hair. Just look at this. You left the city at the mercy of the Free Crusaders and see what they've done? I don't know if they're manning the defenses or rehearsing a circus act. But I'm not really mad, of course. You all gave the demons such a thrashing they probably haven't even come to yet. Erebeth would lose her mind if she could see what they've done to her beloved barracks. I'll need to be the first to see her and tell her everything. Ease her into it, you know? Prepare the ground, put things in perspective. It's good that you're not mad at me, Anivia. Wait, I mean, you see, that came out wrong. I didn't mean to say that I was the one who wrecked the barracks. Did everybody make it through alright? Drezen's still standing, kinda. Although who knows how long for with these crazies loose in the place. They're as happy causing all around mayhem as they are thrashing demons. I'm glad to see that life has been restored in the city. Me too. You can smell it in the air even. Feels like spring already. What's the situation at the front? Unknown. Her Majesty mustered all the troops she could, raised the Sword of Valor, and advanced on the demons. There's been no word from her since she left. Perhaps she's boldly taking eyes even now. Maybe her bones have already been picked clean by demons. We don't know, and I doubt anybody except you will be able to find out. But that's not all. Baphomet's minions keep taking swipes at us. Scumbags are holed up somewhere. The Ivory Labyrinth, I'll bet. And they keep opening portals in different spots, dropping off a dozen units and then closing the portal before we can get to them. We lost more scouts than I'd care to admit before we figured out how they were pulling off that little trick. So here's what I'm thinking. Maybe you could get to one of the portals in time. You could be ready for them somehow so that when one opens, you get inside and crack some skulls. They might even be holding the poor Herald in there. If he's alive, you can free him. How do you feel after seeing the goddess in the flesh? My ears are still ringing from those trumpets. After witnessing that sight, I don't think I could be surprised by anything ever again. As you just heard, I have to catch Arilu. Any idea where I should look for her? Not especially. She's been roaming the Abyss all this time, but now that avenue's closed to her. Nocticula and the other demon lords are all slavering for a piece of her. I think she's somewhere around here, in the Wound. Some nasty little place like Eyes, or maybe she went as far as Threshold. An entire army of demons enhanced by Nahindrian crystals was being sent here. It's being led by a demon named Mutasafin. Do you know anything about that? Scouts reported the movements of a large demon army far to the southwest of Drezen. But they were marching across a dried-out lake. There used to be a Sarkorian holy place there, I heard, but where they went, nobody knows. They're not headed for us, that's for sure. At least not yet. Thank you for the report. I'll be setting off without delay. Good luck, Commander. Let's do what nobody else has managed. Kick the demons back to the abyss through the hugest rift you can find. Only, you know what? No matter what happens out there, make sure you come back. My gut tells me that soon Drezen will be playing host to weird and wonderful folks from all over the world. Somebody's got to be here to meet them, and sorry, but I don't want to be that somebody. Well, and somebody's got to show the regular Crusaders, not the free Crusaders, what springtime's like in the World Wound. In other words, make sure you come back. And grab Erebeth and drag her back here with you if you find her, alright? Or else Desna only knows what'll happen to her out there. Are you finished talking about boring stuff now? Let's go and talk to our friends on the island now. We need to see how they're doing and ask them if somebody showed up there. Somebody we last saw in the abyss. And anyway, it's been a long time since Aranka gave me candy. We've got to go, it's important. Reynard, I have fairly important news. I will do my best to be brief. The Hell Knight orders have not reacted well to the developments I mentioned in my latest report, specifically regarding the true source of your power. The very notion that we have been cooperating with a weapon forged by Arilu Vorlesh and Nocticula has caused discontent. The orders have not issued any official edicts, but many chapters and high-ranking knights have been recalled from their assignments and barricaded themselves in one of our outposts. The one you know, in fact. I suggest you go there and resolve the issue between the orders and the Crusaders. This is a matter of importance. What kind of reaction should I expect from the Hell Knights? Any, up to and including a formal declaration of war. Which is why you must go to the outpost and resolve the issue before it devolves into open conflict. Very well, I will go there as soon as possible. Excellent. That is all I had to report, so I will return to my duties and you may attend to your other affairs. Commander, I am sincerely gladdened by your return, and I was delighted to hear of your recent victories. It is a shame that my duty has kept me away from the front line. I would like to take up a place in the ranks of your Crusaders, and perhaps I will still have a chance to do so, but before that happens, we must address another issue. I suppose you have already guessed what has brought me here. We parted ways after the discovery we made at Count Arenday's estate. You and I both know that the Count became a conduit for an unknown entity, which I call the Other. I retreated to Nerosian and then went beyond Mendev's borders, looking for mentions of such entities and ways to fight them. And now that my search has borne fruit, I am ready to tell you about it. Why did your search take so long? Because we are dealing with a rare phenomenon, a true anomaly. The Mendev Inquisition has amassed substantial experience in fighting demons, but here we are up against something completely different. I had to trawl through our archives searching for cases that seemed to be in any way similar. I sent inquiries to friendly temples and reached out beyond our nation's borders to experts on the unknown. It was dull and painstaking work, but it was necessary. So what have you learned about the Other? I must be honest, I still don't know what it is. However, I managed to find some evidence of similar incidents. Individuals who, in a horrible moment in their life, became a gateway for an unknown entity. The most curious part is that all these cases appear almost sequential. They happened in various corners of Golarion, but no two incidents ever occurred at the same time. This leads me to think that we are dealing with a single entity, one that has been secretly present in our world for a long time, merely changing its gateways on occasion. While I do not know what this entity is, I managed to find something of great value. A Varisian arcanist managed to pick up the trail of the Other and invented a ritual to weaken and bind it. She died under very suspicious circumstances. Her decapitated body was found in her laboratory. Her head was never found, but her notes survived, including the description of the ritual. I have discussed it with several highly esteemed experts in magic, and I am inclined to consider this a reliable weapon. We can use the ritual to lure the entity out, bind it, and probably exterminate it. But to do that, I'll need your assistance, Commander. What do we need to do? We must carefully prepare the ritual, and then bring Count Arendelle to the designated location. The ritual will lure out the other, weaken its connection with the Count, and bind its essence to our world like an anchor. The last part is especially important. All the evidence indicates that while the gateway is active, the other can travel freely between the material plane and some unknown space that lies beyond. If we fail to bind the other with the ritual, it will either escape, or, in the worst-case scenario, drag us into its realm. Hence, we must lure it out, and then, I suppose, defeat it. There is one more issue, aside from the fact that we'll have to fight this incredibly powerful and horrifying creature. The other's suspicion must not be aroused until the very last moment, and this means that the Count must know nothing as well. The best course of action would be to take the Count to the designated location without telling him the reason for the journey. Then we must frighten him and make it appear that his life is in danger. The other will believe that its gateway is in peril, and then, I hope, show up to protect it. The ritual circle will work as a trap, but it is crucial, and I stress this. We must convince the entity that we know nothing of its existence, and that it is Drezen who is in danger, not the entity itself. Otherwise, there is no knowing what may happen. And I don't want to give the adversary any chance to outmaneuver us. Why do you think the other will appear to protect Drezen? The Count has been in danger many times before, and nothing special has ever happened. You have a special connection with your companions, Commander. You shared part of your mythic powers with them. They journeyed through the abyss with you and survived to tell the tale. I believe the other understands this. It also must understand how dangerous it would be if you were to become not a benefactor, but an enemy to its gateway. I am certain that it will react to a threat coming from you, as opposed to ordinary encounters with demons and cultists. How dangerous is it? It is extremely dangerous, which is why I have come to you with this. All the evidence I've collected on the other, in particular the list of its victims, which include powerful demons and strong mortal mages, make me certain that we are dealing with something extraordinary here. It is stronger and more dangerous than Baelors and other generals of the Abyss. I also suspect that the oracle powers the Count has developed come from the other. As a rule, only gods, imperial lords, and other extremely powerful beings are capable of granting such abilities. I know no one except for you who could challenge such an entity, so I'm asking you to help, for the safety of all who dwell on Golarion. However, I believe that we can shore up our strategic position if the other doesn't suspect we're preparing a trap until the very last moment. Even the most dangerous of creatures become more vulnerable when caught off guard. Main thing we must do is take a methodical approach and stay alert. I think that is within our abilities. Are you sure that this other is hostile towards us, and all this time it has never tried to attack me? I am certain that this entity is dark and truly evil. The evidence and my instincts as an Inquisitor are undeniable. Wherever the other manifests itself, strange and ominous things begin to happen. In particular, I am positive that it is responsible for all the magically decapitated corpses, the ones that were found at Heaven's Edge after the tragedy, and in Canabres after Descari's attack. In both places, some of the corpses belonged to civilians and others to demons, and in Canabres some of the victims were cultists. I am convinced that the other is pursuing some interest of its own, and thus far it has ruthlessly exterminated any who learn of its existence. Now, you and I know that it exists. Draw your own conclusions. If Drezen is the gateway, can't we just slam this gateway shut and leave the other on the other side? We can, by killing the Count, but firstly, I'm not sure that the other won't try to protect its gateway, and in that case, we would have to face it unprepared, and secondly, I am opposed to the idea in principle. Sometimes Inquisitors must make hard decisions. I have made a great many in my lifetime. For instance, I can kill a person possessed by demons if he or she is at imminent risk of taking many lives, and I have no time to perform an exorcism. But in this instance, the situation is not so critical. We have a way of fighting the other. I will not agree to commit cold-blooded murder, not even the murder of someone as disgraceful as Count Arendae. I'll help you. Thank you. Let's go over the entire operation once more. I am convinced that we must lure out the other somewhere far from Drezen and other populated places to avoid civilian casualties. I have chosen a suitable location within the World Wound. I'll mark it on your map. You must bring the Count there without alerting him to what's about to happen. I assume that another foray into the World Wound will hardly raise his suspicions. I will await you there with the ritual circle prepared. But before we reach the crucial moment, you must make the Count and the other believe that the Count is in danger. I suppose the easiest way to do that would be to tell him that you made a deal with the Mendev Inquisition, and the Count will have to face punishment for his crimes, real or imaginary. I'll find a way to intimidate him, but you must play along. We need to provoke the other to come out to protect its gateway. That's when we finish it off once and for all. This case will be my greatest triumph or my greatest failure, but I firmly believe that it must be done. Remember my words, the other must be convinced that we are not a threat to the Count, and that we know nothing about its existence. The slightest suspicion could prove fatal for us. Till we meet again, Commander, and may the gods be with us. A pale, ghostly image appears in front of you. You recognize Lathamus the Antiquarian, the scholar you helped some time ago. His translucent form flickers intermittently, and you have difficulty making out his words. Commander, it's Demas. I won't be maintained. Spell for long. Open the door. Treasure room. Please hurry. What? Did you manage to open the door? Yes. I won't enter without you. Waiting on your help. I'm on my way. I'll be waiting. Please, her. The vision of Lathamus flickers and fades. Commander! Help! Please help me! He's gone crazy! He will kill him! Calm down. What happened? Do you remember Jeranog, the cleric who came to our village a year ago? The locals weren't very welcoming to him back then. After all, he was a stranger who was preaching about a strange new god. But little by little, he became one of us. He went fishing alongside us, and he told people stories about the crusade. He told us about meeting you and seeing the Queen and the songs he used to sing. They just made you want to stop and listen. Well, eventually, we became very close. We started to plan a wedding. My brother didn't seem to mind at first, but after we got married, well, that's when he lost it. He became violent. He threatened to hurt us. I tried to talk to him, but we even thought about leaving the village, but when my brother found out, he lost his mind completely. Markhill is strong, and no one else in the village dares to challenge him. It was a miracle that I managed to escape. But my husband is still there. He didn't make it out of the village. I don't know what's happened to him. Help us, please. What caused this change in Markhill's behavior? Markhill, he really honors the village traditions. We've been worshipping the river for many generations. He was not keen on having the cleric of a foreign god in the village, but he was willing to tolerate Jeranog's presence, for a while. However, my relationship with Jeranog really disappointed Markhill, especially when he discovered that I had begun to worship Erastil too. How did you get here? By some miracle, I guess. Everything is on fire out there, and all those monsters. But never mind me, I managed to survive. I made it here in one piece, but I am in serious trouble and I have no one I can turn to for aid. Please help me, you're my only hope. Alright, I'll help you. Thank you. I'll head back to the village. I'll do my best to keep him from flying into a rage, but please hurry. I'm afraid he might do something terrible. Alright. We're back in Drezen. I think I'll leave it there for now. Alright, well, thanks everybody for watching, and I'll see you all again some other time.